Gospel according to St. John, the 1st chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
The next day Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him about whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus, son of Joseph from Nazareth." Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Philip said to him, "Come and see." When Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him, he said of him, "Here is truly an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." Nathanael asked him, "Where did you get to know me?" Jesus answered, "I saw you under the fig tree before Philip called you." Nathanael replied, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Jesus answered, "Do you believe because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree? You will see greater things than these." And Jesus said to him, "Very truly I tell you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
I invite you to be seated.
Greetings. Once again, my name is Sam Kost, and I'm visiting this week. And a friend from Wartburg Seminary in Dubuque, Iowa. And I'll be sharing with you today the Gospel. Across our readings this morning, there's a commonality of God's love and call for us. Here we have multiple examples of the manner in which God knows us, seeks us, and calls us. Think about this. In the first reading, why does God come to Samuel? Is it because of Samuel's knowledge of God? Perhaps Samuel's devout quest to find God? Probably not, because verse 7 even says that Samuel did not yet know the Lord. Was it because Samuel had influence or maybe some power? He was just a kid serving in the temple. So on his own, he probably didn't have much sway. Maybe it was because he was so ready and waiting for the Lord to come to him, except that he was sleeping, and he didn't even know who was calling him. God comes to us, even when we aren't looking, and even when we don't know what's going on. Even when we think we don't matter, and when we don't expect anything. Even when we don't have power or influence. Even when we don't think that we're good enough. God not only comes to us, but God knows us. God knows us intimately, deeply, and completely. The psalmist uses imagery of forming and knitting, and that God, the Lord, has searched and knows all the inmost places, and all our paths, and all our thoughts completely. God did put us together after all. God knows all the things about ourselves that we might not like people to know. All the perceived imperfections and anxieties that we hold on to. Yes, the psalmist also reminds us that there is no place to hide from God's presence. Or maybe there's no place that can keep us from God's presence. Of course, God knows God's creation as the all-powerful creator of all things. But for us, humankind, there's still another level of connection. We humans are created in God's wonderful image, no matter what. And even further still, God came to know our human experience personally by becoming truly human, incarnate in Jesus Christ, and living among us in the world. Of course, the world did not know or recognize Jesus, nor did Samuel recognize God coming to him. Samuel was sleeping and didn't know who was calling him. Instead of God, he thought it was Eli, the high priest whom Samuel served. Now, Eli had failed in his priestly duties of keeping the priests, who happened to be his sons, of keeping them holy and actually caring for the people that came to worship God. Yet, even Eli is important in the way the story plays out. Though he's failed in some of his duties, he still remains faithful to the Lord and directs Samuel how to listen for God's call. Even when we aren't paying attention, and even after we've messed up, God continues to call us. So no matter what you may think is wrong with you that will keep God away, God already knows it and loves you anyway. Yes, God knows all of you and still wants you. Listen to the words of Paul to the Corinthians. For you were bought with a price. In fact, a very dear price. Ensuring us that there are no limits to the presence of God with us. The same Jesus Christ, God's only Son in human flesh, suffered death on our behalf, giving his body and shedding his blood for you. You are highly valued by God, and nothing can change that. About this time of year, 3 years ago, I was home from college for the long weekend. It was my junior year, and it was really starting to hit home rather suddenly that by that time, a year later, I would be graduated and done with school, and I wasn't sure what I would be doing until starting seminary in the fall, which I decided to do that while I was still in high school. Suddenly, this rock-solid plan that I had from high school, of college and then seminary, felt really shaky and unsteady. Was seminary even right for me? What was I thinking? Can I really just give up the opportunities of decent-paying jobs, opting instead for more school? What if it doesn't work out? And of course, why am I even considering this? Or why me? The questions really stacked up in my mind and in my heart. Fear, anxiety, and doubt came with them. One of my favorite scripture passages is Philippians 4:4-6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, through prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So, in times such as that, I take it to God in prayer. I told God that I wasn't feeling like the right person for what I thought I was being called to, and that there must be some mistake. I prayed for clarity and asked God for further direction. It helped a lot just to pray about it, but I still wasn't entirely satisfied. Where was my clarity and direction? I guess I didn't really expect it right away anyway. So, just getting it off my chest and mostly out of my head, I continue to pray and enjoy my weekend at home. Sunday morning, while sitting in my home church, I continued to pray some more on the topics that had been troubling me. Worship began and went pretty normally until we got to the readings. As this passage from 1 Samuel was read, I heard the words speaking directly to me. Samuel, Samuel. I don't really remember any of the rest of that worship service. My ears tingled, as the reading said. The words of Scripture spoken to me drowned everything else out. I was moved, very joyful that my prayers had been so quickly and powerfully, and even unexpectedly, answered. The shadow of my fears and doubts are still here. But now I felt assured that God was indeed calling me. God wanted me and still does, in spite of all my doubts and worries. I am often reminded of that joy and call when God calls Samuel's name in this story. But I am still reminded of my doubts and insecurities by the world around me. The question Nathaniel poses and the gospel reading resonates often with my doubts and presumptions. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Can anything good come out of North Dakota? Can anything good come out of Crosby, Ambrose, etc.? Can anything good come out of me? Can anything good come out of insert your insecurities and your irrelevance here? I can tell you the answer to all these questions is a resounding yes. In the words of Philip, come and see, the one who heals all ills, the one who calls, the one who walks with you, the one who gave his life for you.